The haunted history of Mary King's Close. Beneath Edinburgh's busy Royal Mile lies a dark, hidden network of narrow streets and tenement houses sealed off from the world above for hundreds of years. Mary King's Close, one of these buried alleyways, has gained a reputation as one of the most haunted places in Scotland. Many believe that spirits from Edinburgh's past remain trapped here, lingering from centuries ago when the close was bustling with life, and later, death. The story of Mary King's Close dates back to the 17th century, when the street was a thriving neighbourhood filled with merchants, tradespeople and families. The plague ravaged Edinburgh in the 1640s, striking this crowded close particularly hard. Many who lived in Mary King's Close were struck down by the disease, isolated and quarantined, doomed to die within the close's narrow confines. As the plague worsened, stories began to emerge of entire families locked into their homes to prevent the spread of infection, left with no hopes of escape. Local legend says that after the worst of the plague had passed, the city officials took the drastic measure of sealing off Mary King's Close, burying it under newer buildings and essentially trapping what remained of the close and its ghostly inhabitants below. This tragic history has led to tales of hauntings and eerie encounters that continue to this day. The hauntings at Mary King's Close began almost immediately after it was sealed off, and they have continued for centuries. Since the close was reopened for tours in the late 20th century, visitors and guides alike have reported encounters with what they believe are the spirits of former residents who died in the close, still lingering in the place they once called home. One of the most famous ghosts is a young girl named Annie. According to the legend, a psychic named Eiko Gibo visited Mary King's Close in the 1990s. As she walked through the damp, dimly lit rooms, she felt an overwhelming sadness and heard the faint sound of a child crying. She claimed to see a little girl, distraught and alone, who told her that she had died of the plague after being separated from her parents. Annie's spirit was said to be searching for her lost doll, a treasured possession that she'd been forced to leave behind. Since that encounter, visitors have left toys, dolls and trinkets in what is now called Annie's room, hoping to bring comfort in the spirit of the little girl who seems to be forever trapped in Mary King's Close. The pile of toys and offerings grow year after year, and people continue to report feeling an icy chill or an inexplicable sadness whenever they enter their room. Other spirits are rumoured to inhabit the close, including the spectral figure of a plague doctor, who was seen by a group of tourists during a guided tour, dressed in the haunting garb of a 17th century doctor, complete with the long bird-like mask. This figure is said to walk the dark corridors, a sombre reminder of the lives lost to the plague. Tour guides and guests have also reported shadows darting around corners, and some have felt invisible hands brush against their shoulders as they navigate the narrow alleyways. There are frequent reports of a male presence in particular, a shadowy figure said to appear near the end of the close, only to vanish if approached. Witnesses describe feeling a sense of dread or cold whenever they are in his presence, as if the memory of the plague's horrors is somehow embedded within the walls. Today, Mary King's Close operates as a popular historical and paranormal attraction, and the ghostly encounters have only continued. Tour guides recount chilling tales of guests who faint or flee from certain rooms, unable to handle the oppressive atmosphere. Many visitors feel disorientated and report feeling as though they are being watched, as though the close is still inhabited by those long gone. Even skeptics find themselves questioning the rational explanations once they experience Mary King's Close for themselves. The narrow rooms, the faint sound of whispers, and the unshakable feeling of unease often leave visitors with a sense that they've brushed up against the past in a way that feels disturbingly real. There are those who claim that the close's dark history has left a permanent mark, a shadow that cannot be erased by time. Whether a result of imagination, suggestion, or genuine hauntings, Mary King's Close remains a haunting reminder of Edinburgh's darkest days, a place where the line between the past and the present feels unsettlingly thin. For anyone brave enough to venture into the depths of Mary King's Close, a warning lingers. The spirits who lived, suffered and died there may still be waiting, just out of sight, yet ever present in the shadows.